Welcome. These will be my thoughts on The Patient, Season 1, Episode 4, Company. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for the episode and the ones leading up to it, and another episode I absolutely loved. So I really appreciated the way that they're continuing to evolve the character dynamics in a, nice dynamic way. Like, I never know exactly where the show is going to go next. And I especially really appreciated the power dynamics here, where Elias really does accept that Alan is the one. Like, he never puts up a fight when Alan says, "Be quiet." That's like, one could absolutely understand if he did. It's a very stressful situation, and you're being told, hey, shut the fuck up, repeatedly. Like, it happens like twice at least in this episode, and the yeah, the way that and Alan is also pushing back against, like, there's the thing about, could you turn the white noise machine off? Go talk to your ex-wife. Like, it's one thing that, okay, so some of this is like therapy, but yeah, some of it is also like the thing about the white noise machine, for example, is more of like a humane thing. It's uncomfortable to not be able to hear your surroundings. And I think if I had to point to just one thing that I especially loved about this episode, I greatly admire that they set themselves the challenge, and I think they managed to overcome it. Elias is tremendously humanized without us seeing, like, if he's faced for almost the entire episode, and really we haven't seen his eyes yet. Like, when you think about scenes in movies and shows that really humanize a character, you can usually see their face. They might have like eye contact, meaningful eye contact with another character. It's all voice. It's only at the very, very end. Like, we knew he was in there. We saw him get dragged in there. But other than that, in this entire episode, we only see him at the very, very tail end. And only very briefly. Like, we get a lot of close-ups on Alan and a decent amount on Sam. So it's not as though the show is just refusing anyone that. And the way that Alan, there's this tension between, like, obviously he wants to help Elias. There's not really any question about that. But this thing of, like, telling Elias, I can't stop Sam. I'm not fast and strong enough to do that. So we're gonna have to stay in this bad situation. Like, maybe it wouldn't be the case if Alan was not a member of a minority that has been, persecuted. And to be clear, I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like I should say it. When I acknowledge that the Holocaust was horrible, I am not excusing the genocide that the Israeli government is carrying out in Gaza. It is not a war. Genocide can never be a war. But I don't know. I got a real sense of, like, the prisoner's trolley problema with seriously, if you're not watching Genie Collects, you're really missing out. Anyway, I don't know. It's like, at what point does he become, like, a what's the word? Like guilty, partially guilty in. So yeah, I really appreciated having that element in there. And let's see, I thought they did I really appreciated the way that, so far, most of the time, when we see the outside world, it is in flashback. There's been very, very little of that. I thought it really worked to see Sam at his workplace, just briefly, see some of the people, and, it's a gamble. You got to be careful not to, because part of the appeal, obviously, is the high concept, what's the word, chamber story, the bottle episode, the very isolated, kind of socially and physically isolated and trapped, claustrophobic kind of setup. And I thought they did a really great job, because we never felt free, because when we're seeing Sam out there, like, we're worried, like, the fuck is he gonna do? Is he going to, like, murder someone at work now? And there's also tension there, because, oh shit, he forgot about the donuts. And, one of the others is like, oh, Mr. Efficient, because, so it's like, and that's the kind of thing that's not wrong to say about your coworker, as long as because it wasn't like, like the coworker wasn't saying, you're such a fucking mess, what the fuck is wrong with you. They're just saying, oh, I guess we found one thing where you weren't, absolutely perfect, because yeah, he's like model employee. There was a letter about how exemplary of an employee he was, and the boss always reads that to the others when they fuck up about something, so just, yeah, really, really fantastic on that. Yeah, I thought it was fun, the thing with the phone. It just keeps, like, they're having this conversation, and like, so she's holding the phone, and every so often she'll, like, say, Sam, you have options, keep that in mind. And Sam is like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna fucking do it, and Alan is like, you're not gonna do it. And then every so often the phone's like, please recharge the phone. And Mom's like, I forgot to recharge the phone. Just also such a fucking, okay, to be clear, when I say boomer, I say with affection. I'm not, I really can't stand the intergenerational conflict. I think it was That Dang Dad who said, instead of okay boomer, we should say okay capitalist. But it's kind of a boomer thing, oh, I forgot to charge the thing, because, like, I'm sorry, but back in my day, we didn't have to charge things. They just ran on the electricity. You plugged them in, and they were good for, just, yeah. Let's see. I think, yeah. I love the way that they, so we very briefly have the thing about, the concerts, and, the thing about how, I've gone to, what was it, like 29 concerts, which isn't even a lot. Like, I know a guy who went to 78. Like, you should meet that guy. Okay, does he kill people too? Like, what are you? Oh my fucking god. Yeah, I'm really digging this deft mix of tones. Like, it can be so disturbing and tense, and then you can also have these, like, genuinely funny things. Just, yeah, it reminds me a little bit of The Bear, honestly, in that, although that show is obviously not about fucking serial killing and such. But no, I really appreciate the way that's, I try to have a very balanced media diet. I watched, my dad and I just rewatched I want to say it's 1929, All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't really have anything new to say about that. I didn't. It's at least one video on. I forget if I did more than one video on that movie. But yeah, like a lot has changed in how you know how tone and pacing is handled in media. So, and obviously it's not completely consistent. It varies. Yeah, I think the let's see. Um, Fantastic acting on the guy who plays Elias. Like, god damn, that is a lot to get across with us barely ever seeing his face and never his eyes. You know, that's yeah. Um, let's see. We have the yeah the brief discussion about, well, you know, he's not going to kill you because you're the therapist. And, oh, you're kind of he trusts you, huh? You know, and these things, like, you know, like I said, you know, so to be slightly more serious, yeah, prisoner's dilemma thing, you know, like this thing of like, will they god damn it, it's been too long since I read about it, but if I recall, it's it's that thing about, will they sell each other out, will they, you know, just try to stay loyal to each other, kind of thing, you know, because like, yeah, there's I felt like they did a good job on that here. Yeah, I like the bit where mom comes down and she's like, I'll tell you about his dad, but I don't think it has the answer. Sam was always Sam, you know, and that's like, there are, as comforting as it can be when we understand, you know, that is like part of the, you know, I understand a number of people are super into true crime, you know. I that's not where I get into that sort of thing, but I do, you know, share this drive to understand why some people choose to do evil things, you know. And yeah, part of the thing with true crime is, why did they do it? And sometimes the answer is frustratingly like, we don't know. We can't point to a specific thing, because obviously if we understand why did this person become this way, we can improve things, you know. um I swear I'm not going to go off on a huge rant, but I remember, like, some years back there was, you know, yeah, there were a number of crimes, and someone wrote a book. I forget if maybe they also made a movie out of it, but basically the book was something like, oh, you know, they were just born evil. What are you gonna do? There's a twist that I could spoil. I'm not gonna, just in case you know what book and or movie I'm talking about and you haven't gone into, but just like, yeah, there was something about, there was at least one character therein that was just plain evil, just born evil. And of course, so to be fair, I don't think they knew when that book was written, but it's still like, it beggars belief that they were so incurious, because obviously, you know, later, you know, studies were done and it turned out, oh hey, the reason there were a bunch of crimes in that, you know, there were a bunch of people within I forget if it was one neighborhood or just like one type of building, who were, yeah, becoming kind of criminal. Let's see, I think it was like asbestos or something, you know, one of those things that, you know, because of a, you know, yeah, they were put in buildings and it got into kids' heads, and you know, led to changes in like their brain, something or other, but you know, yeah, that was why. And we can actually do something about that. We can stop putting fucking asbestos. Yeah, moving on. um but yes, the thing about, you know, I think you should go to work. I mean, it works for Dexter Morgan, and it's again this fascinating thing. You know, he brings up like, well, I mean, I guess me, it's like being a smoker isn't quite the same thing, but the way they're talking about it, it does sound like, oh, he's an addict, he's considering using, but he wants to get clean so bad. He's trying to quit cold turkey with the help of, I would say they're called sponsors. And yeah, I am not an expert, but I do know some about it, and it definitely is. One of the things I have heard is that it can work to distract yourself and to focus on the fact that, hey, you haven't used yet. You're still pushing back against so yeah, really nicely done on that. And yeah, and the thing about, well, I'm at work and I'm just thinking about doing it, and Alan is like, but you're not doing it though. Try to focus on the fact that yeah. Let's see. I think I guess I don't have too much more. I think I've covered. Let me know. Drop me a comment if there's something you really badly want me to comment on. I appreciated that we didn't really get a lot. Like we were just told, well, Sam was always Sam. We don't get a bunch of stuff about his father because, like, it's possible it's coming later. But certainly for the time being, Sam was always Sam. And yeah, the white noise machine, like, he really is putting thought into this, because that's a way for him and Alan to have a private conversation. Elias won't be able to hear over the noise. And let's see, I think we have, let's see, there was at least one more thing that I really wanted to say. Yeah, the thing about, did he see your face? Because I didn't see your face, and I felt like that was intentional. Maybe you could let him go. Maybe on some level you want to let him go, and you just need to get to a place where that's what you're doing. Which, again, like, if we're going with the metaphor of an addict, like, getting to a place where you're flushing the drugs, like literally down the toilet, or that sort of thing. Let's see. I think that might pretty well cover. I feel like there's one more thing I really wanted to say. Right. One of the ways they humanize Elias is this talk about, oh, I know, yeah, you made that, you're the one who cooks that, really nice dish. He's like, oh yeah, I thought of that. I went traveling and I thought of how to fix it. And then they have the absolute fucking gut punch of, like, I I wanted to try to think of what was something I could make to cheer up mom who has cancer and is 2 days away from retirement. Like, Jesus Christ, just, yeah. God damn it. I really, really badly want Alan to be able to stop Sam from killing Elias. And I do really appreciate I think it is commendable when a piece of media that deals with murder humanizes victims and potential victims, because, like, I don't know, I watched those first 8 seasons of Dexter. I get the visceral thrill of, like, oh, the in that it's in part this idea that, oh, well, if Dexter Morgan kills this person, then they'll never kill again. He'll be saving lives. And I talked about elsewhere, I don't, in real life, I don't ascribe to that philosophy. I'm progressive, but I think ideally it's more like what this episode does, because, like, obviously we never wanted Elias dead, but the only thing we heard about him was, it made him sound unappealing. That was more about, like, okay, I can hearing Sam talk about it, I understand why he feels the urge to kill this particular person. I don't want him to. It's not right to kill. There's very, very few situations where in violence in general should always be the last resort. Um, I'm not saying it's never necessary. It was necessary to fight the Nazis in World War II. Stonewall was necessary. But the but yeah, so like and that's also a neat contrast. When Sam talks about him, all he can see are the things he hates about Elias. And when we hear him talk to Alan, we actually get these, like he's a person. Yeah, I think that might cover the entire episode. Let's see. I feel like there's one more thing that I really wanted to let's see. I like the part where Alan acknowledged, yes, I know it's kind of weird to tell you to go see your ex-wife, but you need an emotional shock to cope with it. The flashback. I wanted to briefly talk, right, and also when he talked the thing about, those are interesting names. They're Jewish, and the thing about, well, there was a difficult relationship between, Beth and my son when he got really, orthodox. And the thing about how, he's like really religious, because like, yeah, if you don't know what orthodox means, that I mean, you might, if you don't know the word, you might think it's the exact opposite. He went away from religion. Um, and yeah, we see the thing about, the grandkids. Some of the grandkids get this really incredibly tasty fucking looking ice cream dessert, and we can see, the son is like, really. And he is readying some food for his kids, and they get something that is a bit less I have to admit, it's been a while since I looked into this. I do know for a fact food is an important part of I guess the word is Judaism, like Jewish culture. Um, something I quite appreciated seeing in Oppenheimer. That is displayed. If I recall correctly, orthodoxy, at least in Judaism, it's similar to, like, it's that thing about it's somewhat like Puritanism in Christianity, conservative Christianity. It's this idea of, it is wrong to enjoy things in life. That means that you are ignoring the tragedies of life, which obviously, again, acknowledging, it was already a part of Judaism before, again, Orthodoxy, before the Holocaust, but obviously the Holocaust, yeah, intensified for a number of people. The idea that you cannot, um, yeah, life is not fun. Life is serious. Um, yeah, I think that God damn it, the letter. Can you write a letter? And he works with his parents at the restaurant. And the thing about, mom and dad, I love you. Is that okay? I just, God damn it. They're doing such an amazing job of getting us invested in yeah. And let's see, I think pretty much covers. I like that it continues to be the case that at least some of the time when mom comes down, she's got the fire poker ready. Like there is this, like, I mean, I don't think that she's thinking that she's going to need it. Not even like to threaten with, let alone physically use. She's seen the change. She can tell, you know, yeah. I don't know. I just the way that I in general her character is very nicely done, very very fascinating because she there is again with her like this thing of almost like a shared guilt, like because should she call the cops on Sam? You know, because like it's one of those things. Let's see, the yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm fully qualified to explore every ounce of depth of such a relationship, but I appreciate that we are seeing, because you could easily have it be that she's like practically cackling, she's like loving being evil, or you could have it be that like she just doesn't know or is maybe in denial about, like, I think there's some denial going on, but to some extent she genuinely feels like no, like this might work, like Alan can stop Sam from wanting to kill anyone, and then he doesn't have to go to prison, because like obviously she doesn't want her son to have to go through prison. Let's see, I think that covers everything. Yeah. Let's see, the yeah. So right. During the phone call, at one point, like, Alan, he's grasping at straws. He's like, "Listen, you mentioned those concerts. Those make you feel better. Could you go to one of his concerts?" And I love that Sam is like, "I have tickets for ones that are in other cities. He's in California right now. I am not going to fucking California. The president is dumping shit on protesters there." And I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, you know what, Sam? I don't think you're taking this therapy in order to stop you serial killing business seriously right now.